The Lost Ark Pheon drama has continued into day number 2. Smilegate is backtracking and digging themselves into a bigger hole. If you haven't heard, allow me to give you the TLDR version of what's going on, and then I will dive a little bit deeper into it. So Lost Ark had an overhaul of the tripod system, and in doing so, they decided to send out mail to every single character in order to inform the players of their change. However, they accidentally attached 10 Pheons to every single mail that went out. This mail was sent to every single character on a person's account, meaning like if you had 6 alts, you would have 6 letters, which would contain 60 total Pheons. This was unintentional and apparently could be exploited. Therefore, Smilegate immediately had an emergency maintenance and took down the servers. They did this in order to remove the Pheons that had been obtained due to their own mistake. They then brought the servers back up, saying that the Pheons had been removed, and those who had spent those Pheons, they believed had done so in good faith, and therefore there would be no negative balance. However, today they have now backtracked again and said that yes, if you spent over 30 Pheons, you would have a negative balance, thus causing an entirely new shitstorm to erupt. Okay, so now let's jump into it. And the very first thing we're going to talk about is the post they immediately sent out after the maintenance, basically explaining things. It says, unfortunately, this message had an unintended 10 Pheons attached, which could be claimed on every character and could subsequently be exploited by deleting and recreating new characters. To remove the message and the potential economic exploit, an emergency downtime was induced. They then say that while they originally stated they plan to remove the Pheons from the accounts that received the mail, they understand many players spent these in good faith, and as they caught the exploit before it was widely used, we decided not to remove the Pheons. So on today's date, they have now backtracked and sent out another update that has really angered even more people. So let's jump into that real quick. While assessing the situation Monday morning, our priority was to bring servers back online without causing massive economic damage. And I'm going to touch on the whole economic damage after this, or further upsetting players by removing the valuable Pheons. To accomplish this, we unlocked the servers and chose not to retrieve the Pheons that had already been distributed. But now that we've had additional time to further dig into the impact, we will be making some changes in how we address the situation. They want to ensure fairness. The situation was confusing, and it was very unclear to players how many Pheons they should claim and how it was exploited by others. Although we initially stated we would not take back any of the Pheons that were distributed, we feel that fairness means everyone receiving an equal amount of Pheons. So because we fucked up and some people were able to take advantage of that, now we are just going to fuck the situation even harder. To accomplish this, we will be removing the Pheons that players initially received from the mail and instead granting 30 total Pheons to all players. Please note that with this adjustment, players who previously collected and spent more than 30 Pheons from this incident will keep their purchased items, but may see a negative Pheon balance. They then go on to state that they're giving, they understand how Pheons are extremely important to players and that they're going to be compensating you with a few things to say, here, we're sorry that we fucked up, and now we're sorry again that we're fucking you again. Okay, so allegedly the exploit was that if you would create a character and you got to your mailbox, you would receive another mail letter and then obtain more Pheons. You could then delete that character, create a new character, and do this over and over and over for basically an unlimited amount of Pheons. However, I wasn't able to find much on the interwebs as far as confirming that anyone actually did that. But they probably also don't want to admit to doing that as in fear of having their account banned. However, let's say you did have your entire character roster full of players. You can have a max of 24 alts or 24 total characters. So if you were able to log on to each one and get that mail piece, you would theoretically come away with 240 total Pheons. Now, while that seems to be a lot, let's kind of break that down as far as how many Pheons you actually need in order to spend stuff. And for this discussion, I'm only including relic gear because the rest really doesn't matter. Ability stones cost 9 Pheons, skill transfer items cost 7 Pheons, and your accessory items like your neck, your rings, all of those cost 25 Pheons total every time you try to trade and buy them on the auction house. So I don't know what the typical number of the average number of alts people have. I want to say probably close to 6. The first homepage is completely filled up, right? So if you have 6 alts that you're playing and you are able to log on and grab all of those, that's 60 total Pheons. Do you know how many items you can buy with 60 Pheons? you can get 2 items and 1 ability stone. I can see how that is extremely detrimental to the economy. I mean, honestly, like the best case scenario would be somebody who actually had their entire character or their entire account like full. So if you had like all 24 characters, you would have 240 Pheons. That means you could literally completely respec your character. You'd be able to buy all 5 accessory items that you need. That's 125, and then you would be able to buy 12 ability stones because you know like you're gonna have to do them repeatedly over and over and over again before you can get the perfect cut that you need. And even then, that's not guaranteed. So even if you had the maximum amount of characters and you were able to obtain 240, you could actually respec your character completely, which isn't a bad thing. But I want to touch because they actually posted that 94.2% of their players claimed 30 Pheons or less, and the remaining 5.8% averaged claiming approximately 70 Pheons per person. So if the average person, an overwhelmingly majority of people were able to get 30 Pheons, that means they were able to literally buy 1 accessory item or 3 ability stones. I mean, is this seriously like economically devastating? So what do they actually mean by economically devastating? Well, I'm going to tell you. You see, it doesn't hurt the in-game economy because they have like this whole ruse of like, you know, the Pheons are there to prevent bots from exploiting the market. And that's complete bullshit. A majority of the stuff that bots actually use for the market helps the player base because nobody wants to go out and farm a bunch of fish or farm for the adventure tome stuff. It's so much easier to buy it. And honestly, that's like one of the main reasons that I appreciate the bots that are in there, because I didn't have to do shit to complete my adventure tomes. And I don't have to do shit in order to craft stuff. No, the economic damage is done to their pockets. You see, Pheons are actually there to kind of keep gold in check, because what Pheons actually do is it actually strangles the marketplace. This is why people sell runs in order to generate gold, because you can't work the auction house in order to successfully and consistently bring in gold unless you are getting one of the best in slot pieces of relic gear. It's a complete waste because no one buys anything other than that. You see, if they had a free market without having Pheons, players would have so much more gold because it would be so much more trading going back and forth. People would be more willing to buy lesser and more different pieces. Oh, and just to follow up on like the whole respecking thing, let's say you wanted to completely respec your character, meaning all accessories and a couple stones, you would need over 140 Pheons in order to do that, like bare minimum. It takes 125 just for your accessory gear. So Pheons in the store, you can get a stack of 100 for $10. So just putting that into perspective, it would actually cost you about $15 just to completely respec your character. Basically, Pheons and gold work together, and this is Smilegate's way of making players feel more inclined to make in-game purchases. So personally, I think Pheons should just be completely removed from the game. And honestly, because of this and them just showing like complete ignorance and then backtracking and literally screwing over players, especially ones that didn't even do any exploits, if they did you wrong on this, stop playing the game. Stop playing the game and definitely don't give them any more money. Pheons intentionally make the game worse. It's nothing but a bottleneck and something to keep the market from exploding. So players have to buy gold and have to make in-game purchases. And it's probably, while I would say it's not something that'll be removed, they have removed other features that came from Korea because it just didn't jive with the community here. This is one of them that needs to go. Let me know on your thoughts, like down below, on how Smilegate has handled this entire situation, and if you are one of those people who's like, yeah, you know, you shouldn't have spent them if you didn't get them, you know, you should have waited because they gave you something, so you should have waited to see if it was okay to actually spend. Just please shut the fuck up. Like, this is completely inexcusable. And just as a closing remark here, I actually love playing Lost Ark. I have like 600 hours into the game. I used to play it daily, and now I only play it like every once in a while, but it's still fun. So if you watch this entire way, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up because I know you liked the video, or you can hit the down dislike. I don't really care. Either way, just engage with the video because it helps me out. And if you like Lost Ark, you can also swing over to my channel. I have a couple other stuff. I did like a massive honing video where I spent like over 130,000 crystals and almost 100,000 gold. So go ahead and check that on the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.